I hated going to school as a child. இது என்னோட ப்ராப்ளம் இல்லை. She didn't think it was my problem. She thought that something needed to change in the way schools function. And therefore, she started something called the Happy School. She started something called the Happy School where children can come happily and study. We do financial wellness for teachers. We start working with schools, parents and teachers. We provide loans to teachers. That's our first way of interacting with teachers. Why loans? Thank you so much for having me here today. I think it's great that I get to talk in the first world community about my entrepreneurial journey, and very quickly I'd also like to make this session as useful as possible for all of us here. So it would be great if you ask me questions once I give you a short introduction about myself, so that in whatever way I'd like to share my experiences and let it be useful for all of us. I'll start with where it all started. So I hated going to school as a child, and this is very common amongst a lot of children. And
to your own school?
Yes, I'm hoping not. But I hated going to school. My parents would always say, school ku pogumbodhu I'll have a very sad face, and school vittu thirumbi varumbodhu I'll be really happy. So my mother kept seeing this day after day after day. And she decided to do something about it. Thankfully, இது என்னோட ப்ராப்ளம் இல்லை. She didn't think it was my problem. She thought that something needed to change in the way schools function. And therefore, she started something called the Happy School. She started something called the Happy School where children can come happily and study. So that's where my whole pursuit of happiness began. So I moved to the school, and that's where I studied. Once I did that, I went on to do my undergraduation in Delhi University, and that's when I actually realized my school is very different from all other schools. Appo I thought that ella school me indha mari da irukum pola irukku appdi. And then when I went to Delhi University, studied, and then so I came back. My entire family is in business. So as children, we are taught that's the only thing you can do. So at business matana, as in that's how we've all been brought up. Now I start questioning that, but I still believe that's what gave me probably the courage to come back and start my own business. I did that for a couple of years, but I also started volunteering and teaching in my school. That was my first perspective to school as an adult. Until then, we all have connection to schools as children. When I started teaching in school, I realized that the school had become very different in that time. When I was there, the school was very different, and then the school had become very conventional, in the sense that it's becoming a more and more a normal school. So that I would go back to my mother every single day and say that why the school is changing, do something about it. And until one day she said that உனக்கு ஏதாவது பண்ணனும்னா நீயே போய் பண்ணு, என்ன திரும்பி வந்து don't keep asking me. So I had to make a choice. I had to do either leave my business and go start running the school. And that's how I started running the school for the next 6-7 years. And as I would be very grateful for my parents for just pushing me into the deep end. That's what I think generally business people do. They don't offer you help. They just push you in a problem and step back and see you solve it. That's what happened for the first 6-7 years of my running the school. And while running the school, there were a lot of questions. It was a happy school. It was meant to be a happy school. Then you start questioning what makes schooling happy, what makes education happy, what makes quality education, because as a school owner you always want to give best to your children. You want your school to be the best. So I start questioning what makes quality education. Is it the infrastructure? Is it the books? Is it the curriculum? We all have children, and they all would have gone to school, and we all start wondering what makes education of high quality. So we have in our school we have the best infrastructure. We built swimming pools to it's in a 25-acre forest. We gave the best infrastructure possible. We gave the best curriculums possible. So everything came together. But this whole question of what actually determines quality education kept lingering in my mind. And finally, after a very long time, I decided now ஒரு ஸ்கூல் ஓனரா என் ஸ்கூல் எப்படி இருக்கணும்னு வேணா நினைக்கலாம். நான் வந்து ஒரு ஸ்கூல் வந்து ஒரு விஷன் I can have an amazing vision for the school, but ultimately what decides quality of education is that when the teacher enters the classroom, what is the mind frame of the teacher? Annikku and the teacher வந்து டென்ஷனா இருந்தாங்க, ஸ்ட்ரெஸ்டா இருந்தாங்க அப்படினா that 45 minutes is not going to be quality education. And this is something that in our society somehow we don't think about it. We think about smart boards irukonu school la, we think about what books are we going to use, we think about we don't think about the mindset of the teacher. And that is something that I wanted to think and solve for. So So I went on to do my master's at Harvard University, taking financial wellness of teachers as an area of interest. Because when we talk about teachers, how much do you think an average teacher earns in India? Take a guess. What is the salary of a teacher in India? Monthly salary of a teacher?
It depends.
Tell me, just give me a number. Average. 40 to 50? Okay. 15,000? Yeah. 50,000? Okay. Okay. Second. Yes. Yes. Private schools and government schools are different. Until today, the average teacher salary in India is 10,000 rupees, which means there is a huge population of people earning below 10,000 rupees. 4,000 ரூபாயிலிருந்து teachers earn பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காங்க. That's what we see. We work with 400 schools plus right now, and teachers earn as little as 4,000 rupees. And this is something we don't realize. And if a teacher earns 4,000 rupees, we can think about who wants to be teachers. Walk into any classroom and ask a set of children, who wants to be teachers? How many people do you think will raise their hand? Nobody. And then you can look at the quality of what is the quality of people who are becoming teachers if you're not making it an attractive profession. And when people become teachers when people become teachers because they have no other option, think about what kind of teachers our children are going to have when they go to schools. In Netherlands, what happens is that the topmost profession, adhaadu oru class la the smartest people want to become teachers, because teachers are the most respected profession there, unlike here. And unless that becomes a part of our society, it will become very, very difficult, because we need to attract the best talent for teachers, because they are the ones who are teaching our children in class. They are the ones spending that 8 hours with them in class. And this is why we started Finvigo. So that is the startup that we do. We do financial wellness for teachers. We start working with schools, parents and teachers. We provide loans to teachers. That's our first way of interacting with teachers. Why loans? Because anybody who's earning about 4,000 to 10,000 rupees find it very difficult to go to banks and ask for loans. Banks do not provide loans for people earning in that category. The minimum salary you need to get is about 18,000 in ICICI. And these teachers don't even qualify for that. The first thing we do is try to provide access to things that is available for all of us here for teachers as well. That is the intention. And this is very similar to probably what my grandfather always said: what a rich man can afford, a poor man should be able to afford too. Which means that இன்னைக்கு நமக்கு வந்து ICICI ல இருந்து ஒரு 10 வாட்டி கூப்பிடுவாங்க பர்சனல் லோன் வேணுமான்னு கேட்கறதுக்கு. ஆனா ஒரு டீச்சருக்கு அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு கால் வராது. And that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to bring what is available to access, what is accessible to all of us, to probably the most important people in society who are creating the next generation. If there is hope, that lies in the schools. And we need to make sure that our teachers earn enough, our teachers can give their best, and we attract the best talent in society for the teaching community. So this is a little bit about Finvigo. I'll come to my entrepreneurial journey right now. The entrepreneurship part of it is that I come from this education background. My husband Shiv, who's also my co-founder, comes from the financial services background. And together we moved from the US to start this in India. In the US, when I was studying at Harvard, just before entering the university, I had to make up my mind. Do I want to do entrepreneurship or do I want to take up a job? When you're entering into a university like that, the resources are plenty, a lot. And I would strongly recommend the universities are open for people of all ages, and if at any point of time if you really want to study, please to apply. It is a great experience. I really wish all of us can get the opportunity to go and study, and scholarships are available. Monetarily it wouldn't be a problem. The process of getting into the university is a little you have to be persistent to get into it, but once you do it, it's a great experience. So when you enter the university, there's a lot of resources available. I had to decide whether I want to use it for entrepreneurship or use it to find a job. And I decided I'll want to use it for entrepreneurship. So incubated the company while I was at Harvard. Harvard was the first investor in the company, and they gave us $25,000, and with that we moved back to India. And today, Finvigo has about 50-member team. We work with 400 schools, and we got funded by Safe Partners, which is one of the most prominent investors across. They invested in Swiggy, they invested in Paytm, and Finvigo has been one of their most recent investments. So our journey from where we were to here, we started the company in December 2018, and we are about 8 to 10 months old right now. And we've given out loans to about 1,000 teachers, and we have a database of about 5,000 teachers. Our latest work with teachers involves the Teachers' Day is coming, so it's a big month for us. We created something called the Teacher Discount Program, which means that in the US, if you're a veteran, if you come back from the military, you get a discount everywhere. Wherever you go, you get a discount. And we thought, why should that be only for them? Why? And teachers do such a great job also. So we've partnered with a range of retail brands across Chennai, and we've decided, and all of them have come forward to give a discount for teachers in the month of September. Thank you. And these are big brands which have retail brands across Chennai, right? Starting from restaurants like Anjapar to salons like Naturals, to mobile shops and electronic goods like Vivek's, Vasant & Co. and Sangeeta Mobiles. All of these people have come forward to say that we want to give a discount for teachers for the great work that they're doing. And so in these small ways, we want to make this community feel better, that they're doing a great job indeed. And it is our responsibility as society to acknowledge the great work that they're doing. So just coming again to the entrepreneurial journey, I want to talk a little bit about funded startups. There's a difference between running a business and running a funded startup. A business, there are advantages and disadvantages in both. I've stayed in both kind of environments. I've run one school which was in one location for 20 years. That is complete focus on that one organization, one institution. Right now, we are a 10-month-old startup. We work with 400 schools, and we are present in 3 states. We are in a hyper-growth startup stage. So there's advantages and disadvantages in doing both kinds of businesses. The first one is where you get to work at your own pace, which means that if you want to grow if you want to grow over the 5 years and that suits your lifestyle, that is great. That's how you do it. And those kind of businesses will be more suited for our pace of growth, and we'll have a lot more pressure in terms of a lot of pressure in terms of financial sustainability, because when you're starting a business, you need to pay your team. You need to make sure your lights are on. So that kind of pressure is what you face when you're starting a business by yourself. When a funded startup is when you receive funds from an investor, and that point of time the financial pressure is completely different, because at that point of time you're funded to show growth, to show that what you're saying to the world is possible. At that point of time, the pressure is on financially, in the sense that you need to grow so much that some more people believe in you to invest in you at a different point of time. And this means here, as a funded startup, you have the firepower to do whatever you want, to achieve as much as you want. So if you want to create large scale impact, working together with a great investor is something I definitely recommend. And because to reach to as many teachers as we do, to do this teacher discount program, to do all of this, to create an impact in this large scale that we do and we want to do, we need the support of investors. Whereas I wouldn't at any point I wouldn't say that running a school for 600 children with 50 teachers is no way less. That impact is what you create student by student, but equally impactful, but very, very different kinds of businesses. As an entrepreneur, we have to choose what we want. If you're going the funded startup way, we will definitely have to be ready for our ideas to be criticized. We are going to be talking to 100 people. We're going to be talking to a lot of people, telling them about our ideas. People are going to tell you it will work. People are going to tell us it won't work. But we need to be consistently sure of what we're doing and keep moving on. So I think, and right now where we are and where we want to go, right now we work with 400 schools, especially teachers. We are launching our parent loan program. Parents find it difficult to pay their school fees, so we're launching a loan program for that, an EMI program for that. If you want to buy a phone today, you can buy a phone with your EMI, but you want to pay a school fee, you can't do that. That's what we're trying to do. And we also lend to schools itself for their own expansion. And we want to work across India, and we want to change the face of education. So that's what Finvigo is all about.